I forgot last week to add this snippet of me snowboarding. It was supposed to be included because I went last Saturday, so I'm including it now. I went snowboarding with my wife and a few of my high school friends.
On the way down.
Yep.
It's really
I think we'll definitely go.
good to
I'm probably not gonna unless they're,
mix up the
unless they're
variety
hanging out with
of
a flat spot
type
in, I'm
of
probably gonna
training,
stick through it 'cause,
and I
that's
see
spot work.
snowboarding as another outlet to a leg workout, if you will, and at the same time, um, I can also have fun and enjoy myself. Yeah, the variety of types of workouts or types of activities really makes it really doesn't tire me out in that sense. It, if anything, it makes me more appreciative to snowboard because all the training that I've done prior, in terms of either cardio conditioning, really translates to other things, other aspects of my life. And when I see it, when I see it in that manner, it really, it really lets me know that I put in the time to be more active, to not always feel winded. And I think that always sticks with me because in my head I never want to be someone that runs out of energy. I don't want to be someone that stops during a race because I didn't train enough to put myself in a position to finish. And I think if you fail to plan at anything, then you're probably going to plan to fail. And what I mean by that is, in order to accomplish any type of goal, we first have to figure out how to get to that goal. And if your goal is a lot bigger, like running a marathon, it will take a lot more time to get to that point than, let's say, running 1 mile. Running 1 mile could entail walking for 10 minutes every day, and then eventually running for 5 minutes, and then walking for the remaining 5 minutes. And eventually you get to this point where you can jog the 1 mile, and the prep time, the planning phases for this 1 mile run doesn't seem as time and effort. You don't have to put a lot of time and effort into that compared to a marathon, let's say. And I think in order to get to that certain point, or whatever goal you may be, I think having little stepping stones and little small accomplishments helps to obtain the ultimate goal. Now this week I really hit a snag in my training. I was able to so this weekend was my 22-mile run, and going into that week I didn't feel any different. I didn't change any part of my routine, and The first 10 miles was pretty easy, kind of like automatic, and I didn't really feel anything different. I did the same routine, had the same pre-run meal, uh, made sure I hydrated and supplemented with energy. Uh, when I got to 13 miles, that's where I started to feel it in my body. My thighs started cramping up. I wasn't sure what could be the reason. I tried hydrating more, adding more nutrients, and I mean, eventually I was able to shake off the cramping up until mile 15, mile 16, and kind of looked like smooth sailing from there to finish off the 22. After I finished at the 17th mile and I stopped for a brief walk, I made the decision to stop running because my body was just cramping too much. And another thing that happened too was I was wearing a tank top and started chafing on the inside of my bicep, and it got to a point where the pain no longer became manageable. And I think in order for me to be better or figure out what happened, I think stopping was the right decision to conserve the energy that I had remaining. I definitely did not want to injure my body or potentially injure my body any more than what had already transpired. So that's what happened during my projected 22-mile run that became 17. This is kind of like the first setback that I had with running, and a lot of my runs I always put myself into this thought process of I have to finish. I always have to complete the run that I set out for myself. And today wasn't it, or that Saturday wasn't it. I just couldn't finish, and it took me a whole day to really figure out what happened. It could be training volume, either in the weight room, or also could be running frequency. In the last week or so, the average weekly run wasn't on par with what I had previously. I was doing a few less runs here and there. I mean, those could be the reason why, but it's hard to really say. Could be from there. Could also be from lifting weights that may have some impacts on the running performance, and maybe that could be it. I remember the week leading up to my marathon, the training regimen would be very, very minimal, maybe even just stretching at that point, and maybe coming up for my 24-mile marathon or 24-mile run. That's gonna be the next test, and that specific run, which is in 3 weeks, I think that will be the most accurate representation of how the marathon will play out. So I will definitely have to train up to that point and be better about my nutrition, my training, be mindful of the type of training that I'm doing, and maybe lift a little less weights, or I gotta do something so that I can plan and complete the run that I set out for myself. It's a good thing that it happened now as opposed to when the actual marathon race is. And I'm happy that it happened at a time where I can learn from these mistakes and do better. I had this plan to record at least every single time I refueled, but at the end of recording, I was just defeated, and I really didn't think I could go on any further. So these are the only clips that I have of that run. This is my running volume for the week. The 17 miler, I feel that maybe the run right before could have played a big part, but hard to say, and we just move on from here. That's it for this week, and I'll catch you in the next one.